Now you tell me, how many people are there in this country? 180 million people. How many people are involved in this? कितने लोग इसमें हैं? Very little percentage, hardly 1 or 2% who are involved in this. Isn't that so? और ज़्यादातर लोग जो है पाकिस्तान, what are most of the Pakistani people doing? वो कैसे लोग हैं? Hardworking, resilient. Look at the women working in the fields, in the villages, I'm just speaking in English for Kim, so that she can understand, but in simple English, so that you can follow that too. What are the men and women doing? Struggling to improve their lives, अपनी जिंदगियों को बेहतर करने के लिए. Isn't that so? This is the way most people have been. And look at our students. Now here, this function has been arranged part, of course, by OUP, or एक partner is British Council. And you know that the Pakistani students, they are the highest achievers in the world जो exam ये दे रहे हैं British Council के through. So look at us. Anyway, rather than counting so much else, let's look at this festival, the KLF. Look at the number of students and teachers and writers and intellectuals involved. So ये क्या कर रहे हैं? They're helping us to think. They're helping us to improve, bring improvements in our lives. कि हम बेहतर जिंदगी गुजारें, हम पढ़ें, हम सोच हमारी कुशादा हो, ताकि जो हमारे मसले मसाइल हैं वो हमारे निकलें. So this is the Pakistan to which we belong. This is my land full of energy, festivity, which we see around just now, and resilient people, people who want the rule of law. सब लोग चाहते हैं, आपने सबसे पहले ये कहा कि corruption है, we don't want that, we reject it, we reject all this, we want disciplined lives. We want the rule of law. Isn't that so? Because we are capable and we are all involved in working hard to continue to do better and reject all this. Isn't that right? Yes. But unfortunately, एक और चीज़ what we have to realize is that the social milieu, इर्द गिर्द आप देखें, what happens? How do people speak to each other now? Do they speak politely? Rude. What is the language?
Very harsh language.
Harsh language. The tone of the voice, the body language. They're just ready to pounce. So is this what we want in this country? No, most certainly not. And this again we need to think about it, and we need to bring about a change. Because look at the media, when I look at the anchors, look at the way they speak to each other, look at the way people are shouting at each other. They don't wait. कोई इंतजार करता है किसी दूसरे के करने का? No. So today what we are going to talk about is compassion. Thinking of the other. दूसरे का हमने सोचना है. And now let me ask you one question. In this discipline हमें चाहिए, thinking of the other, regard of the other. What was one incident which happened recently which showed Pakistan as a disciplined country? क्या चीज़ थी इस्लामाबाद में जिससे पूरी दुनिया को पता चला है और हमें खुद भी कि हम लोग we can be very disciplined. धरना. There were millions of people. कोई बता सकता है क्या हुआ था? Can somebody tell me? बताएं क्या क्या हुआ था वहां पे? For 4 days, what was the weather like? मौसम कैसा था? It was the coldest winter in decades. And who was sitting out in the open? Children, women, professionals, young people, old people, everybody sat. There was rain, there was cold freezing. For 4 days and nights, they stood protesting that they want change and asking for their expectations, what they want of this country. कि हमें क्या चाहिए इस मुल्क में. We want peace. We want to be in charge of the country ourselves. कि लोग जो है यहाँ के, they should be in charge of this country. That's what they wanted. And they've set a record of non-violent protest. It's made a record. It's history. So, isn't that what we want to replicate everywhere else, wherever we are? Isn't that so? We want to do that. And today we will talk about sowing these seeds of compassion. Ab compassion kya hai? What is compassion? Compassion is a sensitivity, a genuine concern. दूसरे के लिए एक concern, दूसरे के लिए ख्याल, सोचना, and then a conscious effort कि एक्शन में हमने क्या करना है. आज हम उसके मुतालिक बात करेंगे. सिर्फ जज्बात नहीं बेटा, कि हम प्रैक्टिकल इस तरह कर सकते हैं दूसरे की मदद. This word compassion has come from Latin. Com का मतलब है together, इकट्ठा. और सब इसीलिए I want कि आप सब contribute करें. All of you should contribute. I want to hear you young bright minds. आप सब के ख्यालात जो हैं, you would give very good ideas about how to improve this culture. And again, the most interesting thing is that when you are teaching compassion या practice कर रहे हैं ये दूसरे का ख्याल रखना, तो आप क्या करते हैं? You generate further compassion. और लोग वही कुछ करने लगते हैं. As you sow, so shall you reap. What you do around goes around. चाहे बुरा हो तो बुरी चीज फैलेगी. Negative things. When you do good, then the positive things take the rounds. And research indicates, research में पता चलता है कि ये जो compassion है, ये when it comes into the classroom, जब बच्चे, teachers, when they are compassionate, तो क्या होता है? There is a climate of improved learning. आपकी पढ़ाई बेहतर होती है. Your learning is improved. The whole culture, climate of the classroom is improved. And there's this book जिसमें रिसर्च किया, उसका नाम है बुक का The Heart of Learning and Teaching, Compassion, Resiliency and Academic Success. इसमें ये बहुत रिसर्चर्स ने इस पे रिसर्च करके तो इस नतीजे पे पहुंचे हैं. तो क्या होता है जब हम कंपैशन, जिसमें आप ख्याल रखते हैं, टीचर आपका ख्याल रखती है, आप उसका ख्याल रखते हैं, अच्छे तरीके से एक दूसरे से पेश आते हैं, जो रूल्स हैं उनको फॉलो करते हैं, तो क्या होता है? Excellent. Now you can just write improving the environment of the class where there will be supporting. You're supporting each other. ये नहीं कि teacher is talking from the top. आप भी बोल रहे हैं, आप भी. So it's a supportive environment. Then आपस में, you know, when you realize कि मेरी साथ वाली friend को या class वालों को, she doesn't know mathematics and I am good at it. Peer learning, एक दूसरे को help करेंगे आप लोग. Then communication becomes better. You're not scared. If the teacher is asking for your opinion, is kind, uses, you know, encouraging to you, then there's an open communication. So if you have a problem, you'd be able to ask. Same is the case with each other. When you see people are helpful, then you are more ready to ask. If there's somebody very standoffish, you can't ask them to help you. तो इसलिए पूरी क्लासरूम की एनवायरनमेंट जो है वो बदल जाती है. And what happens sometimes is when some children don't work and all that, and the teachers are lazy. और क्या कहती हैं टीचर्स अगर बुरा लफ्ज़ इस्तेमाल करें? Tell me. Duffer. Oh my God! ऐसे भी और क्या कहते हैं? But then what happens is that no one is actually a duffer or no one's actually lazy and all. It's because you might not have had the opportunity or the belief. आप में यकीन ही नहीं था कि आप अच्छा कर सकते हैं. But now, when the teacher will be aware, so there are a few teachers here, that we have to be sensitive to each child. हर एक फ़र्क है, मुख्तलिफ है. किसी की एक टैलेंट है, किसी की एक फील्ड में अच्छी लर्निंग होती है, फ़र्क तरीके होते हैं लर्निंग के भी.
ये भी तो कहा जा सकता है कि you are able to do this.
Able to do this, absolutely. The teacher should encourage them. Never mind, if we are going to help and sit together, or you help with your friend, yes, you would be able to. Encouraging words. फिर वो लेबल नहीं करती, उसकी वजह से फिर क्या होता है? The students start feeling secure. उनके अंदर एक security and confidence, खुद एतमादी. Because there is nothing which anyone cannot do. Now there's a very interesting story कि एक क्लास में कोई बच्चे थे, तो उनकी एक बच्चा था जो उसकी लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटीज़ थी, वो पढ़ नहीं सकता था सही, उसके काफ़ी मसले थे, डिसलेक्सिक था, ये वो था. तो उसका एक दोस्त बन गया. तो अक्सर जब वो काम करता था और बच्चे हंसते थे उस पर. अच्छा, now there was this competition when the children were supposed to make एक एरोप्लेन बना के, तो उन्होंने सब ने दो ने मिल के बना के एरोप्लेन, and they were going to just throw it across, और देखना था कि कितने दूर जाएगा. अच्छा, now this boy, समझिए उसका नाम अली था और साथ में उसका दोस्त मोहम्मद था. मोहम्मद was bright. मोहम्मद always would help अली. तो अली was very good at making these things, हाथ से बनाता था. तो उसने उससे कहा कि चलो हम लोग बनाते हैं जल्दी से. These two in pairs they were making aeroplanes. Ali wouldn't make anything. अच्छा, उतने में बाहर बुला लिया उनको. When they went out to the ground, so everybody's name was called. And when the teacher saw कि इसका पेपर वैसा का वैसा है, तो उन्होंने तो इसको आखिर में बुलाया. And मोहम्मद said, I think I'm going away. क्योंकि ये तो कुछ भी नहीं बना रहा. उसे कहते wait. What he did was, अच्छा, किसी का जहाज यहाँ पे गया, किसी का वहाँ गया. He got that paper, he turned it into a ball. गोल से उसने लकड़ी, उसने एक गेंद बना दिया उसका और जोर से फेंका. और कहाँ गया गेंद? वो सबसे आगे. तो ये दिस इज अपनी आप की क्रिएटिविटी जो है, इसको टीचर्स हैव टू रियलाइज दिस टू. And then when you feel good about yourself, when you win, then gradually आप और चीज़ों में भी उसी तरह मेहनत कोशिश करने लग पड़ते हैं. अच्छा, एक और दिलचस्प बात ये है that some scientists have discovered कि ये compassion जो है, ये शायद इंसान के दिमाग में, डीएनए में जो है, हमारा डीएनए, हमारा जो स्ट्रक्चर्स दिमाग में, उसमें एक हिस्सा है which just deals with this emotion of compassion. अब ये तो हमें मालूम ही नहीं था पहले. Imagine in our brain structures there is an area which is only for compassion, thinking of the other, and we haven't used it. अब इससे मुझे ख्याल आता है कि इंसान, कुदरत ने, nature has made human beings basically compassionate. Allah वो दिमाग में डाली, but we don't use it. Whose fault is it? But once you start using it, then you become more compassionate. And this reminds me of Nelson Mandela words. Nelson Mandela का नाम सुना हुआ आपने? He is the prophet of today.
He is a humanitarian. He's the worker of people.
Yes, this is in South Africa. में वो कितने साल कैद में काटे थे उन्होंने? किसी को पता है? कोई बता सकता है? It was over 20 years. और वहां फिर भी उन्होंने, उनके दिल में हेट्रेड नहीं उन लोगों के लिए आई कि जिन्होंने उनको जेल में डाला था. फिर भी निकल के वो यही मोहब्बत का पैगाम देते थे. So what Nelson Mandela said is, no one is born hating another person. because of the color of his skin, background, or religion. People learn to hate. They are taught to hate. And if they can learn to hate, why can't they be taught to learn to love? Because love comes more naturally to the human heart. जब कोई बच्चा पैदा होता है, जब कोई नए होते हैं लोग, उनके दिल में हेट्रेड तो कभी भी नहीं होता. This is a learned response. And this saying has been proved by the scientists that basically man is compassionate. और schools जिसमें ये encourage किया जाता है compassion, उसमें we start thinking of others' needs. आप जिस तरह अपने फ्रेंड की नीड का सोचेंगे कि मुझे इसका ख्याल रखना है, अगर इसको कुछ आता नहीं है या ये देर से आई है या इसको हेल्प करना है, दूसरे के मुतालिक सोचना. And compassion is one of the main character building traits. हम लोग जब मैं स्कूल में थी और यहाँ पे कई लोग जब थे, उस वक्त एक होता था स्कूलों में हमारे, मैं क्योंकि कुछ ऐसे स्कूल में पढ़ी थी जहाँ पे ज़्यादातर मिशनरीज के स्कूल थे, कैरेक्टर बिल्डिंग उसको कहते थे. उसमें हर वक्त ये इसी तरह के एग्जाम्पल्स बताते थे कि किसी ने मेहनत की. बैठ प्लीज, थैंक यू. अच्छा बेटा, आप कि किस तरह आपको सच्चाई के ऊपर, बी डूइंग गुड टू अदर्स एंड सो ऑन. Now, compassion, agar you study very hard, you get good marks, you are best athlete, everything, but if there is no compassion in you, these other traits can propel you to become a narcissist, कि सिर्फ जो अपना सोचता है, and you can develop very dangerous characteristics. और ये when you become a head of a group, किसी ग्रुप के हेड बनते हैं या शायद मुल्क के हेड बन जाएं या कहीं बन जाएं, तो आपकी ये lack of compassion जो है, it can bring destruction. And one example is Adolf Hitler. He was very bright and he was all that. On the other hand, अभी कल हम लोग अब्दुल सत्तार ईदी आए हुए थे, वो बोल रहे थे किसी उनके ऊपर किताब कोई लिखी हुई है, तो उनको जब बुलाया गया तो उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा मेरे अपने ख्याल से कंपैशन और इंसानियत को जोड़ के बताया. उनसे जब पूछा गया, when he was asked, I said, how did you manage to do such prolific humanitarian work with no money? पैसा तो था ही नहीं. पूरे मुल्क में आप देखें जितनी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के खराब हो गए हैं, कुछ इनकी बढ़ती ही चली जा रही है. बिकॉज हिज थियरी इज कि इंसानियत अगर है, थिंकिंग, इंसानियत क्या है? इंसान इज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग. इंसानियत इज आपके अच्छे ह्यूमेन ट्रेट्स. इफ यू हैव दैट, इट विल काउंटर ऑल इवल्स. और इसमें क्या होता है, जिसमें जब आप दूसरों के मुतालिक सोचें, एंड देन ट्रूथफुलनेस, हार्ड वर्क. If there's a combination of this, then societies can prosper. Or for the teachers now, make the students feel secure. अंदर से उनके में ऐसा हो that they feel that they are loved. For whatever they are, whatever background they come from, whatever their abilities are. And then this is the foundation stone from which you keep building, and these students keep rising. I have lots of examples of such students who were with me, came from different schools, just didn't perform well at all. And I remember there was some parent who knew me and he said, if my child doesn't get first division in your school, I'm going to tell everybody in the state doesn't know how to run the school. So when we looked at his results and all, the child, we were, I mean, little nonplussed के वो बच्चा जो बिल्कुल कुछ नहीं कर रहा था. मगर lo and behold, the teachers 2 साल में उसको इतनी encouragement मिली और मदद, ये नहीं कि सिर्फ encourage ही करें, he was made to work, he was assisted one to one के साथ, इसी तरह कई और बच्चों के साथ. और आप यकीन करें कि जिस दिन रिजल्ट निकला तो मेरे पाँव में मोच आई हुई थी, and the whole class, there were 5-6 of them who were, not very good high achievers, and they all got first divisions, and they were big huge boys by that time. They just came and embraced me like this. I said, you embrace your teachers, they are the ones who did it. So there is nothing which is impossible, provided we keep thinking of our students, we keep thinking of, and actually giving practice. सिर्फ thinking नहीं होती concern, action. You take the proper action to be able to assist them and help them. Only then they will grow up as secure, responsible citizens who can look after their own well-being, apna, and the well-being of others. And teachers help them feel loved and cherished. Now, here I'd like to ask the teachers, for whatever reason you come back with baggage from home, koi masla, a child is sick, or mother is sick, or somebody, and children haven't been performing well, and so on. So what happens? You quickly want to finish your lesson, and there's some child who's upset or whatever. You don't even look at them. Eye contact bhi nahi aap karte unse. तो उस दिन क्या होता है? At the end of the lesson, जब सबक खत्म होता है, तो क्या बच्चों ने कुछ सीखा होता है उस दिन? Because you were not involved, you were not doing what was necessary. And what happens to you? You start feeling worse than the way the day started. So can you all give me some examples yourselves of days when you tried, even despite the fact that you were not well, or you were having some such problems at home, and you thought of others? कोई example देना चाहता है मुझे? Kim, would you like to talk something about empathy or anything, which you feel? Because it's a problem everywhere. Kim has come from Canada, and she's basically a novelist. But she is very interested in education, and she was telling that her family goes far away to a place where there are schools of children, underprivileged children, and they go and help them there. So I'd like you to share some experiences of how you can, through this feeling for them, bring about change.
I think for me, when I go to a class, the most important thing is that I want the teacher to know me. And even if there are 30 people in the class, I want that teacher to have said my name, to have a feeling that I've actually connected with the teacher. And so when I'm teaching, I try to do the same thing. I try to make sure that every person in the classroom, every single time, has felt appreciated. Sometimes it's difficult to do if there's a lot going on. But there's another thing that I think in terms of being creative. In one of my classrooms once, we had a boy in a wheelchair. So maybe I could just... Yeah.
Stand up, yes, yeah. Please. I was just going to ask you.
The boy in the wheelchair was very angry. He was angry that he was in the wheelchair. He was angry that people weren't kind to him. And he used to take his wheelchair, it was very funny, and he'd go around and bump everybody. He'd take his wheelchair and he'd bump the desk. And so the children are writing and their things are moving. The teacher tried to talk to him, and the teacher tried to give him special writing work. Nothing pleased this boy. But then the teacher came up with a very creative solution. He made his wheelchair go very fast all the time through the classroom. And she said, the first thing I have to do is get him to move slower. And so she made him in charge of delivering water to each child. So the water was very heavy. He had it in his wheelchair. He couldn't go fast. And he was very important in the classroom because each child wanted the water that he would deliver. So sometimes we can find very creative ways to help people. So, thank you for having me today.
Thank you very much, Kim. Thank you. So wherever children are, anywhere in the world, they all feel the same. Here, I will just, there's this little sort of poem which we keep doing quite a few times, over and over again. And that is, He spoke. It wasn't the language I speak. He dressed. He did not wear the same clothes as I do. He ate. It was not the food which I eat. He prayed. It was not the way I pray. But when he laughed like I do. And when he cried like I do. So, we have to remember that we are all the same inside. We all belong to the one human race. Now, I'm sure you all must have felt, actually, we started the session late, so there's lots of steps which I have to skip. But however, do you all see bullying in your classes? एक दूसरे को बुरा भला करना, letting down the other person, prejudices, biases, एक दूसरे को कमतर सोचना, considering each somebody lesser than you. Isn't this so often that we see? Now these are, no one again is born with these biases, with prejudices. These are prejudices and biases which we keep picking up from. Where do we pick up this from? From parents, from our homes, from teachers, yes, friends, relatives, other media. Isn't that so? And we sort of adopt them as our own, and it exists, unfortunately, in every community. There is always the struggle for power, to show that you are stronger, better, superior.
The point is, without another support, the people cannot do anything. Support is necessary. This is point.
And what you mean is reinforcement. Reinforcement. क्योंकि घर में ये देखते हैं कि फलां तो अच्छा घर नहीं है. Social strata from which you come from. So this is also something which people are very aware of. What sort of shoes are you wearing? What sort of bag are you carrying? What sort of transport do you come in? And then, unfortunately, the color of the skin also. एक काला, किसी की नाक अगर है, ये नाक को मोटे नक वाला, कोई छठी अख वाला, कोई फलाना, हम लोग सब बात ही करते हैं. Don't we all do that? And have we ever realized, actually it's the teachers, they've got to make them realize that they might be thinking it's a bit of fun. But what happens to the person who is receiving it? उसको क्या उस पे क्या असर हो रहा है? They are being hurt so badly inside. They might show, on top, oh, we don't care, nahi, bas aise nahi. Magar inside, they are being hurt so badly, it impacts them maybe for the rest of their lives. पूरी जिंदगी में उन पे इसका असर होता है. On the other hand, if you do something caring, supposing there is a friend of yours who's sick, या उसके घर में some problem, the mother's sick or something, she misses out on school. So, if one of you helps that child with that work she's missed out on, what happens? Just now I think everybody's got these cell phones. Isn't that so? घरों में सबके ही हैं. Just asking, just a few seconds of your day, if you can give, inquiring about them. How great that person will feel. Can anyone give me an example when you were not well and somebody rang you, somebody helped you, somebody gave you your homework? How you felt? कोई example देगा मुझे? बोलो हाँ जी बेटा.
मैं जैसा कि हमारा कोई हमारी मदद करता है तो हमें जो खुशी होती है वो.
आप एक एग्जाम्पल दो बेटा कि एक दफा ये हुआ, क्योंकि जब कहानी सुनाते हैं ना उसका बहुत असर होता है.
यस मीन्स एक बार मैं एब्सेंट थी क्योंकि मेरे घर में कुछ प्रॉब्लम था, तो मेरी फ्रेंड थी, उन्होंने मेरी बहुत मदद की. उन्होंने मेरे मतलब कि उन्होंने मुझे होमवर्क कर दिया मेरा, उन्होंने मुझे डायरी बताई कि आपका ये काम मिला है और आप क्यों नहीं आई. उन्होंने मेरी बहुत हेल्प करी कि उन्होंने मुझे बताया कि आप एब्सेंट हुए तो आप है ना इसको ये बोलना कि आप ऐसे थी वैसे. तो मैंने उन्हें बताया कि मेरी ये प्रॉब्लम थी, तो उन्होंने कहा इसको आप ऐसे बताना. तो मैं उस टाइम पे मुझे बहुत खुश हुआ था कि मेरी फ्रेंड ने मेरी ऐसी हेल्प करी कि.
और फिर आप क्या करेंगी? अब आपने क्या सीखा?
तो मैंने ये सीखा कि अगर हम कोई हमारी हेल्प, जैसे कि मेरी फ्रेंड ने मेरी हेल्प करी तो मैं उसकी हेल्प करने में बहुत मदद करूंगी.
This is what I said. When you are involved in this process of compassion, you will be encouraging and promoting. You have the privilege to be able to do it for others.
और मुझे ये पता चला कि लोग अभी भी ऐसे हैं कि जो मेरी हेल्प कर सकते हैं और मेरे मदद कर सकते हैं मेरे.
Excellent, excellent. कोई और बता सकता है अपना कोई एग्जाम्पल जी? सबके साथ हुआ होगा. चले कोई नहीं, थोड़ा सा बता दें कोई नहीं कोई और. One more person जी. अब कोई और है इसमें पीछे ग्रुप में? चले आप है कोई? चले दे दो बेटा, दो. Somebody will speak, I'm sure. जी जी, अपना नाम बताइए. ऑलराइट, हाँ बताइए. आप उर्दू में बोल लो, इंग्लिश में, जिसमें मर्जी बोलती हैं. ठीक है.
So one thing happened that I was unable to attend my class. So I was at home and my friend called me and she said that why didn't you come today? So I told her that I'm not feeling well today. That's why I took off. So she said okay, just take this diary and do it homework as well. At home. So I feel very good that she asked me this thing. I think we all feel good when somebody asks us that how you feeling and how you behaving.
You feel important.
We feel by heart.
You feel special.
We feel special that now we are special for someone, that someone is thinking about us.
Very good. Absolutely correct.
So
बिल्कुल सही.
that I really feel happy at that time. That my joys knew no bound at that time. So really.
And are you trying to do that with others,
Yes.
with your own colleagues, with or the own
Yes, now
students?
I'm doing job in a school, so obviously we do this kind of things as I'm the in charge also. So it's my.
And do you encourage other
all
students? If somebody's sick, make a card for them and send it to them.
We do all kind of things in our school and with our colleagues and friends, and still we find some childhoodness in our personality that now we are somehow
We need to keep improving. Yes.
Okay.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you very much. You know, there's very little time left, but one thing which I want to tell you all is that, as teachers, what we've noticed is that, again, this violence we see everywhere, not only in our own communities, nationally, but at the global level too. Kitna ho raha hai? And unfortunately, because the children see so much of it, you all see so much, you stop registering and you stop considering it's something wrong. It becomes unfortunately a norm. कि ये तो होता रहता है. But that's a dangerous trend. What we've got to make sure is that the children realize that this is wrong, they think about it, they talk about it, and as and whenever the opportunity comes, they reject it. And whenever, in their own spheres of life, would they see any conflict? किसी की लड़ाई हो रही है आपस में, two people, or just speaking, communicating in a wrong way, we control that, because these all attitudes, and then eventually which conflict flares up and then later on leads to a lot of more violence, cyclic. It becomes cyclic then in everywhere, wherever we are. So this is something which teachers have to be very careful about. And explicitly they ask them, how would you feel if you were in that community when somebody came and bombed you? How would you feel if your family was affected? So that they know that those people are human beings too. Because what happens in the media is they don't talk of human beings, they talk of numbers. And there's a word, collateral damage, which is the most damaging word. Who's in the collateral damage? They are human beings. They are children, they are women, everybody. So if the media puts it forward in this way, then maybe people will start feeling it. But it's our responsibility as educationists to tell our students that we reject this. First, you've got to think about it, whoever they are, because we all insaniyat. Now, I wonder if you all are familiar with that. बड़ी एक मशहूर कुरान की आयत है, Surah Hujra, in which the Almighty says, we're just about to finish, in which the Almighty says, O mankind, males and females were created into nations and tribes so that you get to know each other. Knowing each other is understanding each other, living together, recognizing that we are different, yet we are one. Yes, respecting people for whatever they are. And this is, according to UNESCO, UNESCO says there are 4 different pillars of education. And the final pillar of education is learning to live together. Learning to live with compassion, learning to live with insaniyat, as Idi Saab put it. Learning to live together. Now I will quickly read, मैं आपको एक छोटी सी चीज सुनाती हूँ एक शहर की, और आपने गेस करना है कि ये शहर कौन सा था. This city was one of the most remarkable cities of ancient times, and it was the most advanced city in the world which was at its peak. It's an architectural wonder and reminds us of how developed humanity was in our corner of the world. There were no rich palaces, there were no big buildings. Everybody lived in similar, same type of homes. There were no weapons of destruction. The cities were concentrating on cleanliness, high social development, and modesty, order, and cleanliness were the preferred social values. Where do you think this city was? ये कहाँ पे था शहर? आपने मोहनजोदारो का सुना हुआ है? This was Mohenjo-daro. This was Mohenjo-daro. And do you think we would like to replicate and make another Mohenjo-daro again, the same civilization where everybody lives equitably, सब एक बराबर रहेंगे, और सफाई, निस्फ ईमान जिसको हम कहते हैं, जिसका हम ख्याल नहीं रखते, और एक्चुअली सफाई लाएंगे, एक जैसे सब लोग होंगे. अब दूसरे गेस्ट आ रहे हैं. थैंक यू वेरी मच.